it's such a colossal, massive opportunity missed from Lando Norris, and it's just starting to feel like last year that I'm not sure he's quite got enough to do what he needs to do to win this World Championship.
Wow, 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 and wow. And welcome to the Fast and the Curious Azerbaijan Debrief. Baku, bless you. What a race.
Sorry.
Yeah?
I'm pleased we've got you for your favourite gag of the season. It feels appropriate, really, doesn't it?
Some would say only gag of the season.
That's true.
Welcome to the Fast and the Curious. This is Greg James, joined by Christian Hewgill, and what a great debrief we've got ahead of us. A brilliant race has just finished, loads of talking points. It's very nice to be back on the podcast as well. Loved Isaac Hadjar. I loved Isaac, and that's how we are calling him now, because that's what he wants, and that's his name. So Isaac Hadjar was on the last episode. If you missed that, then do have a listen to it. He was on great form, as were you all, but he was on great form after he'd finished his yoghurt, which I liked.
They're very relaxed, the drivers, in talking to us. We had Ollie Behrman finishing jelly babies or gummy bears or something like that. And then Isaac was saying, yeah, I'll just finish the yoghurt. But yeah, that's gone down very well. Thank you for the lovely comments about that, Isaac. And we guided him to a point today. So we must be decent. Omens. Thank you, omens.
Let's do the top 10. And I know that you would like to do this as a radio professional as well. But also, I did used to host the official chart show on Radio 1. So
do you do the top 10? You could do the top 10 by all means.
Would you mind if I did the top 10?
No, not at all. No, I'd be delighted for you. You crack on.
At 10, it's his third point. Sorry, it already.
I say used to. Used to do the
little
official
rusty.
charts. Don't worry, go again. It's all right. Breathe.
This is why I don't do it anymore.
It's been a while. Okay.
At 10, it's because I was doing chart voice. At 10, it's Isaac Hadjar. Third points finish in a row for him. At 9, it's Charles Leclerc. Ooh la la. At 8, it's Lewis Hamilton. The first time he's beaten Leclerc since Silverstone. At 7, it's our McLaren boy, Lando Norris, getting some points when his teammate didn't. 6, Yuki Tsunoda, best result for Red Bull for a while. 5th is Liam Lawson, best result of his career. We're in the top 4 now with Kimi Antonelli, best since his podium in Canada. 3rd, we have Carlos Sainz. It's his first podium since Abu Dhabi in his last race for Ferrari and his first for Williams as the smooth operator. And at 2, it's George Russell, 7th podium of the season. And at number 1, it's arguably the greatest driver of all time. It's Max Verstappen, his 4th win of the season, proving he's still very much got it.
Lovely. Oof. I really enjoyed that. For niche UK radio listeners, I felt the voice was a good mix between Goodyear and Vine, I would suggest. But I really, lovely that. Really enjoyed it.
You do have to, I think when you're doing a chart, you have to go high. It has to be high octane like that. It's actually not a million miles away from your Harry Benjamin / Crofty, you know?
No.
They go quite high up like that when they're starting, and then when they settle into the race, it goes a little bit more like that. Where they're going like that, it's happening. Yeah.
Lovely.
So,
do you want to do the championship?
Yeah, this is how the championship looks then. This is where you go deeper, because it's a deeper dive.
It's considered, isn't it? Yeah, sure.
And therefore, this is how the championship now looks.
You got a bit Chris Tarrant here.
Okay. Oscar leads on 324 points. Lando is second on 299. That's only, maths fans, a 25-point gap. Max is third on 255, which is 69 points behind. Yes. So this is a significant race, a very significant race. And I'm so pleased we're going to get an exciting, unpredictable back end of the season. I think it's...
Baku end.
The Baku end. The point was made on the 5 Live commentary that I was listening to, that for a neutral fan, this is the dream scenario. For a fan of the sport and for racing, this is a dream scenario, really, that there are still twists and turns in this story.
Well, I've said time and time again, I don't care who wins. You get accused whenever you have Formula One opinions nowadays. You get accused of being biased towards one or the other. I don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care which one wins. I just want it to be an exciting fight. It is an exciting fight.
Yeah.
And if you did, we talk about sport being unpredictable, but I can't think of a single more unpredictable thing to happen going into this weekend than Oscar bidding it in qualifying and then on the race having a jump start, so messing up the start and falling to the back, which you couldn't even see on the TV pictures. On the Sky Sports commentary feed, Karun Chandok noticed it, being like, bloody hell, Oscar's at the back. And then...
Ooh.
Lovely. And then putting it in the wall. It's the least predictable thing that could have happened.
So can I just quickly get myself and those listening that didn't see much of qualifying but heard the headlines. What were the funny bits of qualifying? Why was it such a mess?
It was such a mess for a load of different reasons. It's a lower track temperature than you'd expect at 20 degrees, so the track's slippy at the best of times. It's a street race, so you've got painted white lines, which I think one of the last times you were on the pod, Greg, we spoke about the white lines being slippy. That's a thing for street races.
Yeah, that was the Lewis bit where he slipped on the green paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
You also had high winds and changing winds direction, making it incredibly unpredictable for the drivers. This generation of car are particularly sensitive to wind.
Twitchy.
Twitchy. You had the wind blowing onto the circuit, wind, rain and stuff, high humidity, rain, like little drops, and a track where Baku, normally, if you have a high-speed circuit, you'd have a tiny little wing, right? So the downforce levels would be super low because you don't need as much grip because it's fast, it's high speed. But at Baku, you've got a high-speed section in the back straight and you've got really tight, twisty bits. So in those tight, twisty bits, the drivers wouldn't have as much grip as they might normally do on a tight, twisty circuit like Monaco because you can't go too low in downforce because you've also got the long straight.
Right.
So it was a perfect storm of things where it's a tricky setup, tricky conditions, and that's why you saw the most number of red flags we've ever seen in a qualifying session in the sport's 75-year history. Unbelievable. And so many people making mistakes, including the World Championship leader, Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, well, let's dig into Oscar then, because this is our boy. We've backed him for a while. Are we seeing a little bit of nerves and it getting a little bit overwhelming for him as we reach the end of the season? He's got this championship in his sights. Is he faltering here?
Well, there's a couple of things. Obviously, the crash will grab the headlines, but let's look at it in a bit of a wider context. We have seen races this year where Lando Norris has had the pace advantage over Oscar Piastri. They've not been that many, but you look at Monaco, that was one where Lando always looked quicker and he got the win. But this is the first time I can remember where 2 weekends in a row Lando's looked the quicker McLaren. There's a big but to that, and we'll get to it. So, last weekend in Italy, Lando looked the quicker overall. We've moved on to Baku, and you think, well, that won't happen again. It's just not happened 2 weekends in a row all season. And again, Oscar just didn't look quite comfortable all weekend. At times, neither did Lando, but Lando had the edge. He makes this mistake in qualifying, but then I did a TikTok and said, like, it's a massive own goal missed for Lando because he only qualified a couple of positions higher than Oscar. So you think, okay, he's going to go into the race and he probably will recover it. He gets a shocking start and he puts it into the wall. I can't answer that question, Greg, of what's happened. The only person who can is Oscar. I've not seen, by the time we're recording this, we've not seen the interviews yet. I don't think he'll say much in them. It's
he was hiding. He was taking his time getting back to the garage.
Yes.
Because he's like, oh, I imagine he was going, I don't want to talk about this right now.
You wouldn't want to go into the pen. I don't know.
No, exactly. So he was just like, maybe I'll just walk around Baku for an hour. Go shopping.
It's a nice town.
Looks like a lovely town, yeah.
It's the biggest test of Oscar Piastri's Formula One career. You need to go into Singapore and put these 2 weekends behind him. This one especially, because it's probably the worst weekend of Oscar's career, in terms of the highest profile mistakes. It's just so unlike him. He's been so Mr. Consistent. He doesn't make mistakes. He's shown maturity for over his years. The speed's been there. It's just so unlike him. It's spectacular. So look, Oscar Piastri-wise, everybody has bad weekends. I'm not too worried about him. we do see people just have shockers, just have stinkers, and Italy wasn't that. He wasn't quite as quick as Lando, but Lando's not stupid, So I don't think it's disaster end of the world territory for Oscar Piastri, but the test of just brushing this away and going out in Singapore and putting it on the podium or winning the race will be huge. It's a really significant Singapore for Oscar already. I guess then the next question is, well, how significant is it for the championship? And Greg,
Max Verstappen winning the championship is unlikely,
sure,
but not impossible.
Sure.
And if anyone could pull the McLaren pants down in the last few races, it's him.
Yes.
And he will absolutely believe that he could do it. Surely. That's him. That's his brain. He'll know that realistically it's going to be very difficult. But if the car holds up in Singapore, if it works for them well there, and he gets a bit of luck, and someone else, Lando puts it in the wall, or something else happens, or a wheel falls off or something, then it's in the words of Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance. We'll talk more about Max in a minute. I think 2 more weekends of winning like he's done in the last 2 races, and 2 more weekends of maybe Oscar not coming second. Maybe if you're Max, you start to think, okay, it's possible. We'll come back to Max because he deserves more than just a fleeting reference in a title battle that he's unlikely to win, because the headline is Lando Norris. 2 weekends. We've been saying after his engine problem a couple of races back, it seems unlikely, but I've been sat on the podcast going, it's not impossible. But 2 weekends in a row where he's been quicker than Oscar, 2 weekends where he hasn't won the race. And this weekend was just a massive opportunity, the sort it feels unlikely he'll get again. I've been saying on every podcast, you never know, because Oscar might have an engine failure. Oscar might be tapped into a spin. I didn't think for a minute it would be Oscar put it in the wall. But every podcast where I've been going, it's too early to write it off, that thing happened. The thing happened. And yet Lando wasn't able to... Well, he wasn't able to shoot into the open goal, to use the football analogy. And the thing is, I'm not too hard on him in the race. Historically, I said this on the preview show, historically, Baku is really tricky to overtake because of the DRS train, because everybody gets the DRS advantage on the straight. It's actually really tricky to overtake around Baku. For me, the mistake happened in qualifying where, again, Greg, to go back to Max, all those tricky conditions I mentioned, who steps up and does the best job? It's Max Verstappen. And actually, all right, even if the Red Bull is the quicker car this weekend, if you're Lando, you need to be putting it on the podium. And it's starting to feel a bit like last year to me, where we know that it's possible for Lando to catch, but it just doesn't feel likely, just doesn't feel like it's going to happen. And I just think qualifying was where it all got away from Lando. You can't, if you're in a title battle and you know you need to do everything and you're given this gift, perfectly Christmas wrapped bow on top from Oscar Piastri, here you are, Lando, take this, have this present from me. If you don't take the present, you're in trouble. And combine that with McLaren having another slightly dodgy pit stop, it feels like pit stops are a bit of an issue because he might have got a couple more positions up during the race if his stop hadn't have been buggered up. It's such a colossal, massive opportunity missed from Lando Norris, and it's just starting to feel like last year that I'm not sure he's quite got enough to do what he needs to do to win this World Championship.
That feels sad. I feel sad hearing those words from you.
I feel sad saying it because he's a phenomenally talented racing driver. On his day, he's sensational. But it's 2 seasons in a row, and I take no pleasure in saying this. I'm lucky enough to speak to Lando a lot. I like him as a human being, as a racing driver. He's a really good human. I like Lando Norris an awful lot. But last year, whenever there was the opportunity, it didn't quite feel like he grabbed the opportunity quite enough, and it's starting to feel the same here. I think a World Championship contender in qualifying puts it in that McLaren, puts it at the very least in the top 3. If Max is in that McLaren today in Lando's position, starting wherever he started, 7th, 8th, 9th, is Max making more of a headway through the field, even if it's tricky to overtake? I actually think he is.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the ruthlessness which maybe Lando has lacked at times.
Yeah.
At times. And so you've got someone like George who's pushing. Like he was pushing. He was doing some overtakes that were unexpected, right?
George was sensational this weekend. By the way, the man looked like he was about to drop dead on the podium. He's so poorly, and he did an amazing job. He is so poorly.
So there were some moments where I think the commentators were saying that's not a corner you normally try and overtake on, and he's nailed it. You know, he's going for it. He knows what's at stake. He knows what's needed to get up that field. Same with Carlos, and absolutely the same with Max, who I don't know. He's sort of in a weird way. He's got not a lot to lose here. It's McLaren's to up, isn't it?
You couldn't be more right. It's Max has got nothing to lose.
Because also against the odds in lots of different ways. The car not quite being up to scratch, you know, being a bit inconsistent. The fuss around Christian Horner, all of the turmoil, all the second seat changing constantly around him, and yet he just keeps driving really well and really fast, and is seemingly unfazed. I mean, I think I've mentioned the word psychopaths before. Like, these drivers have that switch in their head where they can be psychopathic of just like, I don't care what else is going on in the world or in my life or anything. I'm going to drive this car so damn fast. And they do it fearlessly. And it's actually really, it's just amazing to watch. I really loved watching it today. And I felt really excited for Max, strangely, on the podium. I was like, I'm really into this for you. You've really nailed it.
Something me, you, and Betty all have in common is we're all sports fans. Like, not just F1 fans. We love all sport. Greg, you're a huge cricket fan. You love seeing excellence in cricket where you take your hat off and go, that is incredible. We're witnessing sporting excellence in Max Verstappen. You know, he is the best driver in Formula One, and also by a country mile. He's a reminder that if you are going to beat them, McLaren have had such a big advantage this year, but if you take your eye off the ball for a split second, Max will beat you. He's terrifying for his opponents. Yeah. Because if you're Mercedes or you're McLaren and you're trying to take, or you're Ferrari and you're trying to take the fight to Red Bull, Max is a cheat code because you only need a car that's close to the level of the others for Max to win. Red Bull haven't got the overall best package, but they've definitely made improvements since Laurent Mekies took over. The car seems more drivable. They've taken a step forward. But regardless of all of that, Max Verstappen is the best driver in Formula One, and this weekend is just yet another reminder of that. He is, I don't like comparing drivers of eras, your Fangios, your Schumachers, your Hamiltons, but put it this way, drivers at their peak Hamilton, peak Fangio, peak Schumacher, there's never been anybody better than Max Verstappen. He's an all-time generational great. He's sensational, and he's never going away. As long as he's racing in Formula One, he's never, ever going away. He's ridiculous. I can't heap praise enough of him. We're all lucky to be living through the era of watching Max Verstappen, because it will be F1's 75 years of age. He would be being talked about in another 75 years. He is unbelievable.
It makes it very exciting as well for the rest of this season and the last few races. We will be right back to talk about the incredible Williams result next on the Fast and the Curious. After these messages.
We're into the final chunk of the season. There is still lots to play for, though, up and down the grid. Don't get too carried away. And there's also still time for you to come and see some of the action in person as well.
Yeah, if you're keen to soak up some F1 in the flesh before the end of the year, our friends, the adorable, wonderful, lovely people at Gullivers Travel have got you covered. If you missed us talking about them before, they are brilliant. They just sort out everything you need them to sort out for going to a Grand Prix, from buying the tickets, getting to the circuit. They sort out all the boring faff to make sure you can focus on the racing. And as someone who hates admin and is not very good at it and frequently gets lost, I spend most of my time away getting lost. I honestly could not recommend Gullivers more, because without people telling me where to go, I'd end up in the wrong country, let alone at the wrong circuit.
It's been really nice to see people actually taking this as an idea and at least exploring it, and loads of people have actually gone and done these trips as well. So I'm sure there'll be other Fast and Curious listeners and viewers that you can talk to and go, Was it good for you? Was it worth doing? So I'm sure you can do your own research with that. The final race of the season might feel like it's ages away, but it's not. It's not that far away. Abu Dhabi will creep up on us, and loads of people will be trying to get there. So it's a perfect time for you to get organised and sort out your faff-free F1 weekend.
Gullivers have plenty of different, Greg, funny word here coming up, which you usually struggle with. Gullivers have plenty of different packages on offer.
Yes.
Anything you'd like to say there, Greg, about the word package?
No, I just think that's completely normal and fine. I don't know why that's funny at all.
Interesting. You've got your 4 night stays in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, or Yas Island.
Now that is funny.
That is funny. Including breakfast, which I think is arguably more important than the racing. I need to know I've got a good breakfast waiting for me when I get up. Plus your race tickets, flights, airport transfers, and there'll be Gulliver's tour guides with you every step of the way, who quite often wear Gulliver's branded bags, I've seen, so you can see where they are, and I think that's helpful in itself.
And if you're already thinking about next season, maybe you're planning on heading to your first Grand Prix, or you want to go back to your favourite circuit, guess who have already got plans for sale for 2026? Of course, it's Gullivers. So head to gulliverstravel.co.uk and they will help you every step of the way. And if you can't be bothered to type that out, then it's all right, guys, because we've got a link in the description of this episode or over on our old Instagram page.
All right, then. It's the Fast and the Curious. This is Greg James, and that's Christian Hewgill. And we are debriefing the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We've just talked extensively about Max and Lando and Oscar. But let's talk about the smooth operator.
Oh, what a moment.
So happy for him. Such a nice man, such a great head of hair, such a talented such a talented driver. Like, I know he jokes about smooth operator, but you could describe him as an operator. Like, he is an operator. He knows that sport so well. Part of the thing about being a great driver and an experienced driver and a mature driver, I guess, is that you lead the team. Like, he has to lead the team even when he's in the car, and he's strategizing as well. He's got one of those great brains. The great drivers have
from the front today. Yeah, absolutely.
But they have that great. They have that great brain, don't they?
Yeah.
The top sports people, and particularly in F1, you see it. They have the. They make great team principals. They'd make great strategists or the head of strategy type things. But they are also amazing at driving, and it just felt you could hear how much that meant to him in his little radio message at the end of the race. Before
I go on to the emotion, lovely little point you made there about and the sort of example of that was when his race engineer had said to him, because obviously he was going for second, and then George did the overcut. Brilliant strategy, brilliant execution for Mercedes, as we've already said. And his engineer came on and said, it's going to be tricky to get to George. Like he might be thinking that Carlos was being frustrated. Like, no, I want to get my second back. And Carlos had gone, yeah, no, it's fine. Leave it to me. Carlos has already spotted. That's gone. Fine. But solidifying this P3 for us is wonderful. I've got Antonelli behind me to worry about. I'll worry about that later. He was one step ahead. So you're absolutely right, Greg. All season I've been saying about Carlos Sainz, I'm not worried about him. We've seen how difficult it is for drivers who've moved teams at the end of this rule cycle. Hamilton and Sainz are the two. They've come up against teammates who've been in position for bloody ages and found it really tricky to match them. And I've never been worried about Carlos because you've seen these flashes of pace. It's like, well, he's obviously still got it. Most of the time it's come in qualifying. And then he's had a couple of scrappy executions on his side, a couple of dodgy strategy decisions from Williams, and a whole lot of bad luck. But I just knew it was going to come together for Williams and for Carlos at some stage. I just knew it was. And today that's happened. It's amazing for Carlos because he is a phenomenal Formula One driver. But having to dig deep in your own ability must be tricky in these situations. Be like, look what I've done. I am better than this. What was Baku? What are we, 16 rounds into the season now? I can't remember. 15, 16, something like that. All of these races where it's been like tricky. Can I still do this? Well, he didn't stop believing in himself. Don't stop believing, as Journey once so famously sung. He said that on the radio. It's a little reminder of that. And this is also symbolic for Williams and what they've done under James Vowles. They've gone from a team that are way at the back, not too long ago, where they were struggling to get a spare chassis, where they were arriving.
Well, yeah, the Logan Sargent era.
Yes, exactly. Where Logan had to give his car away to Alex. Where They were turning up to pre-season testing late. The turnaround in Williams has been sensational. They've got Karine Chandok on the Sky Sports commentary feed said there's a brilliant team atmosphere there. I'm lucky enough to witness that with Williams. They are all singing from the same hymn sheet, united. Alex and Carlos get on brilliantly well. And someone from Williams texted me, "Hi Bex," and said, "I can't believe it." And I just sort of said, "I can. I think this podium's been coming for a long time."
Yeah.
And I'm so delighted for Carlos because they are in such a good position going into the new rule set that Williams will get more podiums. Don't think this is a one-off. This is going to happen more and more. There'll be one man, Greg, who might feel, and he won't say it out loud because he's too much of a lovely man, but it's a little tricky moment for Alex.
Obviously, because he is a competitor and an insanely talented driver and also ambitious and wants to win. All these people want to win, and he would want to win a world championship one day, and I think he probably will one day.
Ooh.
But he would have wanted to have been James Vowles' first podium, wouldn't he?
He would. And this weekend, a rare, I wouldn't even say bad weekend. Well, it is a bad weekend. A rare bad weekend for Alex, where he's made mistakes in qualifying. He made another mistake in the race and got a penalty for it with a slightly dodgy overtaking manoeuvre. An unbelievably rare bad weekend for Alex Albon because he has been sensational this year, and this weekend does not change that. He has dragged that car up into the top four. He's been consistently in the points. Williams are looking so good in the constructors. That's massively down to Alex. Alex's time will come, and he's a lovely man. He will, as you said, Greg, look, beautifully put. He'll be frustrated. You want that to be you, but I heard that he jumped over to Carlos as soon as the race had finished. He's a classy operator.
Yeah, but he's a smart man. These people are smart, and he knows that you can hold two things in your head at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
You can be gutted for yourself. You can be frustrated. You can also be jealous for the other person, but you can also be happy for them and say, "Well done, mate. That was actually really, really good." And I imagine he did.
I'm just so pleased for Williams. They deserve it so much. It's a brilliant feel-good sporting story, and don't think this is a flash in the pan. There will be more podiums.
It's nice to look at it as the long term. Because there's a tendency in the world we live in, which is you live race to race. And you're like, they're now. Oh, they're good again. Oh, they're now. Oh, they're good. Oh, they're rubbish now. You got to look over the course of a longer stretch of time.
Yeah. Which is
these sorts of things.
And that's been James's attitude since day one, and he's been unashamed to do that. And also, people in positions of power in sport are under such pressure to get instant results, and James has gone, "I'm not bothered about that. My job is to focus on the future," and they've had tough seasons to do that, and it is now starting to pay off. Brilliant.
Should we talk about Liam Lawson?
Oh, I'd love to.
So he's had a tough time. He's had a very, very tough time. Unceremoniously dumped, and it seems to be, from my perspective, at least, that some of the toxicity has left the sport, and Liam got removed from the Christian Horner situation anyway. But it just feels like everything seems that the sun's come out a little bit. Maybe I felt for Liam Lawson.
It's not too long ago, the 2013 Singapore Grand Prix, Liam Lawson in his third start in Formula One gets ninth. It's not too long ago.
23, I think you said 2013.
Did I? Yeah, no, he's not been around that long. 2023. No. Thank you, Greg. Yes, I'm aging poor Liam there. 2023, absolutely.
I know the season is long, but gee, it does sometimes feel like it's been, been going since 2013 this season. But yeah,
Liam's been around a long time. No, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't that long ago, but it wasn't that long ago that Liam deputises in place of Daniel Ricciardo. The Formula One world's going, "Oh my God, Liam Lawson deserves a seat." And Greg, you mentioned the short-termism of sport. All of a sudden, the world's all of a sudden decided Liam doesn't deserve his place in this sport because of what happened at Red Bull, because he's definitely been a bit over-aggressive at times, but you can forgive that. He's fighting for his career, for the thing he's been fighting for ever since he was literally 5 years of age. These kids are planted into the motorsport machine. Of course he's fighting for it. And it was amazing to me how the sort of storyline turned over Liam Lawson, that it shouldn't be in F1, when only a couple of years ago he was being this amazing super sub. I am delighted for Liam Lawson because I remember when Will Buxton came on the pod and got and said, "I back Liam," and he got so much stick. Will did. And I agree with Will. I always have. Liam is a bloody good driver. And the up and downness in his career, the coming in and then losing the seat and then going to Red Bull and then coming back, he's had so much to deal with. And Greg, go back to what I was saying about qualifying earlier. That reminder that he's done so well in qualifying, but executing it in the race is a different thing. Hadja has grabbed the headlines a lot this season. Liam deserved that result. Brilliant from him. I'm delighted for him. I'm sure he'll keep his seat at RB next year. And he deserves it. I'm really pleased for Liam Lawson. And we're hoping to speak to Liam on the podcast later in the season, which I'd like
that's
to.
good.
Because I spoke to him a few times. I really like him. Always liked him. A really nice guy to chat to. Really interesting guy.
He's also only 23.
I know.
There's time.
An
There's
actual
time
child.
Here. Yeah, there's time here. And a lot of... His name has been bandied around for a long time now, it seems. But actually, it's still very early days. And... a lot has happened to him in a short space of time. Really.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite loudly. Quite a loud. It's very loud if you get put in a Red Bull. Like suddenly you're very, very famous because you're in a Red Bull. And so for it to go wrong like that, it requires a lot of digging deep from the individual to go, all right, that wasn't ideal, but I'm just going to keep trusting my thing. And I know I can drive and I can do that.
He didn't have a pre-season in this car because he was in the Red Bull, very different car. You know, a period of stability in his career, which he should get, all being well. I'd be staggered if he wasn't in that car next season. Will do him the world of good. And then you want to do what like Pierre Gasly's done. All right, Gasly got promoted and it didn't work out, but he went off and he's rebuilt his career elsewhere. That'll ultimately be the aim for Liam Lawson. Go and do well at RB and then hope to get a drive elsewhere and get back to a front running car.
Can I talk about the fizzy elephant in the room? The fizzy, sugary, high-energy elephant in the room, which is Red Bull does seem to have got better since they got rid of Christian Horner.
Yeah.
As I say that, I mean, Red Bull's the car. The drink still tastes like...
Yeah,
but,
you've never liked it, have you?
Oh, it's disgusting. Why are you drinking that? Anyway, but in general, apart from the drink has not got any better, they have seemed to have... It has got better. There seems to be some cohesion and, dare I say, some harmony.
I think the team will be grateful for not having the spotlight on them in the way it was on them in the past, shall we say?
Yeah.
They can focus.
Well, he became the story, didn't he? He became the focus. Yeah.
You can focus on racing, and they've got a real strong lineup of drivers. The Red Bull A team, the car has got more drivable. They've unlocked some potential there. Yuki Tsunoda, best result of the season for him. I'm going to talk about him in a minute. At RB, things seem well. It really does seem like a much better place to be, and both teams are doing well. Greg, you're absolutely right. That can't be argued.
We'll be back with Christian's cubbyhole and Betty's radio radar next. Let's get your cubbyhole out, shall we?
I'd love to, actually, for the lads.
I like the cubbyhole. It's so I guess it's a little Ted's notebook, isn't it? It's a little.
Maybe
it's things that you've spotted that you think other people might not have done. It's just giving that, just scratching the surface a little more on the things you might have missed. So, who are you putting into your cubby hole this week? Who's hanging out with you in there?
There's a few things you could mention. Lewis Hamilton just seeming more settled this weekend, which is nice. Another
Who's smiling,
definitely. Yes, definitely seeming happier. So that's nice. Isaac, a 3rd points finish in a row, as you mentioned in your chart rundown earlier. But I'm gonna point towards two people that I actually don't think they've gone too far under the radar. But one is Yuki Tsunoda, who we just mentioned before the break. How tricky that qualifying was, given the struggles he's had this season. You'd think that's prime position for Yuki to put it in a wall. He didn't. He had a great qualifying. And again, I mentioned, like with Lawson, to then execute that in the race is a different ball game. And Yuki did that. 6th is his best result for Red Bull. He deserves that. And he wants to be proving to Laurent Mekies, give me that seat next season, not Isaac. And if he carries on with results like this, where he's around the top 6, he might well get that. I mean, there was rumours that decision's already been made. Let's find out. That Isaac's going to get the seat. Let's find out. But I mentioned on the preview show with Betty, I was quite surprised by Toto Wolff sort of being quite punchy with Kimi Antonelli and saying about Italy, it was disappointing. And I was surprised he hadn't gone for the round the shoulder approach. Maybe the kick up the backside approach has worked because Kimi's been far better this weekend. A 4th place, the best result since his podium in Canada. A miserable run of form in terms of mistakes, in terms of just not having the sheer speed. And we saw the sheer speed at the start of the season. We've seen this weekend the Kimi of the start of the season, where he looks a real solid number 2 driver for Mercedes. And obviously, given you say Liam Lawson's young, my goodness me, Kimi Antonelli is literally 4 years of age. He is nursery levels of young. So you will develop that second driver into someone who could lead teams and win world championships in the future. Far better from Kimi Antonelli this weekend. And he's now in, I think, he can change a lot of the feeling around his debut season in Formula One if he just keeps it on the track, keeps with weekends like that between now and the end of the season, this final bit of the season. I think it would be really nice for him to get to the end of the season and think, I recovered from a really shaky patch where I lost my confidence and just was much more solid towards the end of the season. So yes, way better from Kimi this weekend, and I'm really pleased for him.
Can I roll in a grenade here?
Oh yeah, and
it's not necessarily something that I agree with, but I had an interesting chat with a mate of mine called Ed, who's been a lifelong Formula One fan. He was there, like we all were in the 90s and the early noughties, and his favourite driver was Jenson Button and all that kind of stuff. So he's seen lots of it come and go. And he's seen this era sort of become a new sporting phenomenon and an entertainment phenomenon. And he still loves Formula One. He's not one of the sort of, I hate Drive to Survive brigade.
No,
He sees that it's great. And he still loves it, still watches every race, watches every qualifying. But he made a point of, he said, I just worry sometimes that there aren't enough potential icons out of those 20. Do you disagree with that? He said that there are some really good sort of journeyman racing drivers who are just really good. They put in good performances. They satisfy the shareholders and da-da-da-da-da. Or do you think that's wrong? And then there are some potential absolute legends in that 20, in that lineup. Is there a next Max? Is there a next Lewis? Who are those? Is there a next, Fernando? Or is he just looking negatively on it?
I respectfully disagree with Ed. I think there are as many as there have been in my time of following Formula One, if not more. Antonelli could still be that person. I don't think he's quite set the world alight like many expected him to, but he's so young, starting with such a high pressure gauge. So I think Kimi is. Piastri, without question, is.
I think we agree. We agree that Oscar. I went. Well, I don't think that's necessarily true. And if you look at Oscar, I mean, like you only need one every generation to be the best, and they can last. They can last through a couple of generations, as we've seen with Lewis and with. Loads of great examples. Like
I think
or whatever, but. And we're talking about those iconic household names. And I said, I think it just takes a while to become a household name. I think that's kind of it. But it's an interesting thought. I don't know.
Yeah, and also you've got people that it only takes a couple more things to go right and a couple more things to click into place that they could be that. Charles and Lando, for example. So no, I think the sport's in a very, very healthy place. And then you've also got, maybe they won't be generational, but they're so exciting. SAINZ and Albon, Isaac Hadjar, Gabriel Bortoletto has had a great first season. Yeah. So, no, I think really interesting point. But no, I think the sport's in a really good place. And it's also still got that balance between the golden oldies as well. Having Lewis and Fernando still around, I think is really exciting. So I think that, I think we're in a good place.
But it will be interesting when they do go and and some of the other ones have to fill those spots and be the next superstars. Anyway, only time will tell. What about the radio radar then? So I mentioned Carlos with his I'm the first smooth. That was my first smooth operation for Williams.
Oh, lovely when he said that over the radio. Lovely.
I wonder if he'd thought about that before the race, or that just came to him in the moment. I wonder.
This is Betty's bit, but she's currently presenting football as we speak, and I tend to mess this up. I've spotted every time I do this bit, I get something really important about it wrong. So just stand by. I'm clearly not as good at noting this as Betty. I enjoyed on lap 29 when Isaac was worried about Kimi Antonelli. I enjoyed his race engineer going, don't worry, as in we're looking at different strategy options, and then ending it with, we're looking after you. I think if I was in a Formula One race, I'd like to be told, we're looking after you.
Yeah. Well, it's quite cabin crew. We're here for your comfort. We're here for your comfort, but mainly your safety.
We're looking after you. Lovely.
If there's anything we can do, that's fine. But we are here for your safety mainly. You know, we're not your servants. I also quite liked. There was a George Russell bit where he was on hard tires, and Kimi was on mediums, and he sort of he's almost giving a message to everybody and Kimi by talking to his race engineer and said, I just feel like I've got a tire advantage. Just feel like I could maybe take the place of Kimi. He was I do feel like my tires are, I've got an advantage on them. Yeah. So that was quite fun. He's cheeky little George, isn't he?
Speaking of George, I'm not sure if this is allowed on Radio Radar, but frankly, Betty's not here. We'll do what we like. Lads are in charge. So I'm taking some bit from the cool-down room, which was George saying every time he got into a particular corner, he always thought there was a yellow flag, and then saying, and I quote, it wasn't a yellow flag, it was the bloody DHL branding. Well, I like stupid stuff like that, but it's just a bit ridiculous.
Great for DHL. Great moment for them.
I'm fairly sure, I could be wrong here, someone will correct me if I'm wrong, that there was a moment, maybe it was Vegas, where Oscar Piastri kept saying, he kept thinking it was a red flag, and it was a woman in a red dress in Vegas last year, which is just brilliant when this amazing sport has moments of like, and it always reminds me of speaking of 90s, Mika Hakkinen, where he told me once that he'd been using his braking point. Like most of these drivers pick a point where it's like, that's where I brake. And all weekend in Monaco, Mika had been using a boat as a braking point and then goes round on the formation lap on the Sunday. And then the boat had moved.
Right.
So it's like you get out on the Sunday, it's like, oh, for God's sake, that's not helpful. The boat's gone. And it's been there all weekend. So
difficult. I'd say pretty risky to rely on something floating on the sea to stay still. I'd argue.
But normally they dock over the weekend, don't they? But that one hadn't. It had gone. Although Mika told me that story, and it's in podcast form. There's evidence of it. And then once I reminded him of that story a couple of years later, it said that didn't happen. So Mika's lovely, brilliantly mad. So whether that happened or Mika made that up, I don't know. But he definitely told me that story. And then when I reminded him of it in Monaco this year, then said, I don't know what you're talking about. So it was on a podcast, Mika. Anyway. Mika Hakkinen for you there.
I just thought that he's making a fool out of you. I was just thinking that I don't know why more people don't bring flags with them. It really things up. I'm not suggesting that people should do that.
No, I think I would
go
down quite
badly. Don't do that. But I'm surprised that not more people just going to take a red flag with me just for a laugh. I guess it would be incredibly dangerous, but it's very respectful of the fans, and I'm pleased that they don't.
Could maybe ask Fast and Curious listeners next season to bring pink flags with them for our podcast to Silverstone. That'd be great. Could you imagine just like a load of pink flags?
And the pink flags are up, and I don't know what that means, but all the drivers have slowed to a stop.
Just pink flag means carry on, but in a slightly more camp way than usual. Like me doing a Formula One podcast.
Yeah. I think we're done on the debrief. Christian, it's been lovely to chat this through with you. A really good race, and we are set up nicely for the final 68 races remaining this season. Where are we next? Where are we heading next? To Singapore.
Heading to Singapore next.
Yes.
And before we go, Greg, I just wanted to send podcast love and best wishes to the very promising young British racing driver Will McIntyre. Will's 18 and been diagnosed with brain and lung cancer. Will races in the GB3 Championship. It just dawned on me when I was reading about this weekend that Formula One sometimes feels so stressful that people state their opinions in comments of podcasts like this and on the internet like it's just the end of the world. And I just think you read news like that about such a young and exciting talent, and you're just reminded of what's important in life. And this sport that we've just enjoyed talking about for the last 40 minutes ultimately isn't. That is, and we could all do with remembering that sometimes when we have our passionate opinions about this sport. So get well soon, Will. The whole of the motor racing world is with you. I've seen so many lovely messages for Will this week from all across motor racing, up and down, different forms, different categories, which is just touching to see. An awful bit of news, but so touching to see the response. So yeah, get well soon, Will.
Yeah, we send all our love to Will McIntyre and his friends and family, and you're absolutely right. We should enjoy the nonsense and the circus and the ridiculousness of sport and these wonderful distractions that distract us from the realities of life sometimes. And absolutely, we will continue to do that on the Fast and Curious. But yes, we send our love to Will for an actual real bit of drama, which is happening. So we'll be back before Singapore and then after Singapore. Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Debrief. Make sure you're listening to the podcast every time it pops up by subscribing. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks so much. Just hit the old, do the old thing, and we'll be subscribed, basically.
Subscribe, yeah, lovely. Yeah, lovely.
See you then.
Goodbye.